Okay, so I think we can now start. My name is Guy Barker. I'm the chairman of the board of the BCC. For those of you who haven't met me before, so I would like to ask you, sort of metaphorically, to take a seat, and we will start the AGM. I would like to welcome everybody who's joined us today, especially representatives from the Embassy and the Department of International Trade, all our new members, all the representatives of our patrons and sponsors, all the present members, and the executive team. And so welcome to everybody. And I would like now to ask Ambassador Archer if he could just say a few words of greeting to everybody on behalf of the Chamber.
Guy, thank you very much indeed. I want to do two things actually this afternoon. I mean, the greeting is quickly performed, although I might say that it has been a pig of a year, for us at least, and I think in some respects for you and the Chamber. Most obviously because of the pandemic, but we talk enough about that. The other, of course, huge change that we've both had to cope with in recent months has been the completion of the Brexit process and the new status of the United Kingdom. A trade partner still, but a trade partner with which companies have to relate in quite a different way. So, you know, for a couple of reasons, I think this has been a difficult year, but I wanted to congratulate the Chamber for keeping your show on the road in these recent months. I mean, I've not seen a great deal of it because, of course, one of the ways in which the Chamber sort of manifests itself physically on embassy premises is when you fill my sitting room and dining room with stands, you know, when we do the sort of classic trade mission type events. And frankly, I miss them, and I don't just miss them because I haven't had any free samples for 14 months. But I think we are able now to say that partly we won't make the mistakes of last summer as nations, partly, of course, vaccination is coming through, so we can, I think, genuinely, that's to say credibly, look forward to a better year coming up. The second thing, though, I wanted to say beyond, you know, greeting and well done everybody on this call for surviving, of course, is that today is the day on which we say farewell to Marcella. And I know, Guy, that you and maybe others will want to say something about that at the end. And I promised Marcella that I would not sort of do a tear-jerking panegyric here and now at the beginning of the meeting. But nevertheless, I do want to pay tribute to Marcella. I know that when she began in her role 12 years ago, under my predecessor's predecessor, Sean MacLeod, whom some of you will remember, this chamber was a pretty low ebb, and I've heard that from a number of sources. I also know from my own previous experience in Copenhagen that British chambers are not always or axiomatically a good thing. I spent quite a lot of time in Copenhagen wondering how on earth I could get rid of mine there. But what I came here and found was something really radically different from that. It was a chamber, first of all, with a strong sense of purpose, second, highly effectively run, and third, and I think this was part of the secret of its success, a chamber that hadn't sort of got stuck in a rather conservative sounding and feeling British trade only ghetto. And again, I've seen those in the past. And Marcella and her boards have always understood that to be dynamic, to be vibrant, you need to get out of that ghetto. I mean, of course, the BCC is an important meeting place, the important meeting place for people who do business with Britain or are British business people in every conceivable way. But equally, to sustain the vibrancy, you've got to do something more. And here, of course, most obviously, but not exclusively, it's the Equilibrium program that Marcella has been spearheading with some help, but only supportive help from the embassy, and which has brought in all kinds of companies that certainly didn't have and may still not have a direct trading relationship with the United Kingdom. So it is, I think, by any standards, a remarkably successful, a remarkably strong, and a remarkably vibrant chamber. And I can't apportion praise because it all began, as I say, under Sean, then carried on through my immediate predecessor, Jan, and was going when I arrived. But clearly, Marcella played a very important part in that. You can't do it without an able, energetic, dedicated CEO, which is what Marcella is. Now, I absolutely, having said all that, understand why it's time to move on, why Marcella should want to move on. And anyone, of course, who's been to any of your annual dinners knows that sort of political side, which tends to appear when Marcella gets on the stage to make her speech. And I think it's fascinating what she's going to go off and do. And she may or may not want to tell us more about that later, is very sort of engagé. It's about, making a difference, about doing some good. We are, of course, incredibly lucky to have Sylvia all ready and waiting to take over, very familiar with the chamber, but I'm sure with lots of ideas of her own, and with two specific opportunities. I won't go on much longer, but clearly the emergence from the pandemic is an important point, particularly given that everybody says to each other constantly these days, we will not go back to the old ways. So the question of what the new modus operandi of the chamber will be, maybe not completely new, but a bit new, is something which Sylvia's arrival is perfectly timed for. And of course, the other thing I mentioned before, it is Brexit. I believe that the chamber can play an increasingly important role now that the negotiation is over, during which we at the embassy had a privileged access to information, in helping companies that either want to begin trading or to continue trading, negotiate the complexity which I can't deny this new relationship involves as compared with the old. So Sylvia, I think it's a great moment to come in. It's a moment when you can bring new ideas, and all those ideas, perhaps in particular, you've had in your mind for maybe several years, to the fore as we take the chamber into that new phase. So, Guy, thank you very much for the time to say all that. I hope that I've struck a balance between not, as it were, dancing prematurely on Marcella's grave, but at the same time not being too lachrymose about her departure. It seems to me that it's win for you, Marcella, and I hope that with the passage of time, it will prove to be a win for the chamber, which you've helped build up and of which you will doubtless continue to be proud. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you. I need to say thank you now to everybody, actually. So I'll start with the Ambassador, but now I have a list to work my way down. And so I formally need to thank the patrons and sponsors. I need to thank the members. I need to thank my fellow directors, and I need to thank the Managing Director, Marcella, and the rest of the executive team for, as the Ambassador said, supporting us and working through what has been really quite a challenging year. There is no doubt about it. It has been a challenging year, and we will go into later in this presentation why it's been a challenging year and why it continues to be a challenge going forward. In some ways, the challenges now lie before us rather than behind us. So I'll get to that in a more serious part of the meeting in a few minutes' time. So thank you very much to everybody for your efforts so far. And now if I can move on, please, to the administration of the AGM. We have an AGM that has, in our opinion, been duly convened by email of the 21st of April. We have, I think, quoracy. I know that we have, I think, 12 proxies, and looking at the attendees on the list here, we have at least 20 members in person. So the meeting, I think, is quorate. We have a voting process that perhaps it would be best if I could ask Pavel to explain from a technical perspective. Is that something that you can do, Pavel, please?
Yes, of course. So, good afternoon, everyone. In the voting process, we would like to ask you if you are against or if you are abstaining. If you would say, if you wouldn't say anything, we would be sure that you agree with all the results we would like to announce you. So once we get to the point and Mr. Barker will ask you if you could approve some points of the agenda, he will ask if anyone is against or if anyone is abstaining, and then the results will be approved. So this is from the admin part regarding the voting.
Okay, good. Thank you very much, Pavel. If we can now move on to the agenda, there is an item that we need to approve, which is a change to the Articles of Association. And the reason for this, I will go into a little bit later. I don't want to go into too much detail on it, but it's a technical change that we need approval for, relating to our VAT or DPH status. And the second item that we need to cover is effectively our ability to run meetings by online and to vote online, because that is not permitted by the old Articles of Association. The very fact that we're having this presentation now would tend to imply that people are okay with it, but we do need formally to cover that in changes to the articles. Okay, I now need to nominate the officials for the annual general meeting, and the chairman of the annual general meeting should be the chairman of the board, so effectively it's me, and I don't need to talk about the vice chairman, what happens in my absence, because I'm self-evidently here. We need a minutes keeper, which shall be Petar Kamchev and Nicola Viborna, and we need a minutes verifier, which we're proposing shall be Sylvia Buzniakova. So, is everybody happy with that nomination of officials for the annual general meeting? Everybody happy with that? Okay, I think we can then move on. The changes to the articles. As I have already noted, we do need to change some of the wording of the Articles of Association to avoid a situation where we are moving into liability for VAT on our activities. And we have consulted over the past months with a number of other chambers who are confronted with the same problem. And we believe that we've identified a suitable wording in the articles which stresses and clarifies the objectives for which the chamber is established. And with some minor changes to these objectives as set out in the Articles of Association, we believe that we are clarifying our VAT position in a way that should be satisfactory to the authorities. So the text has been circulated to everybody, and we are the board of the chamber is happy to recommend this to the membership for approval, and as I said, the text has been provided to you. And the second item, which is also highlighted in the text, as I said, is the provision to allow us to have online meetings. So once again here, I would like to propose these items for a vote. Do I need to do this now, Pavel, or are we going to do it later?
Yes, please, we can do it now. So,
yes. So first of all, are there any questions on this? Good. In which case, can I ask that this be put to the vote? And if anybody has wishes to vote against or to abstain, could they please make that position known now? Okay, I think we have clarity on that. Those items can then be considered as approved. Okay, if we can now move on to the report of the board. And the next slide, please, Pavel. Okay. I think that is self-evident. Right. And now we're into the meat of it. Now, last year, this time last year, we were looking at the performance for 2019, the accrual of quite substantial further reserves, a good membership position, and a very established business model. And if I talk through, if I just summarize what that business model is, we have the training and the mentoring and the educational elements of the chamber, which includes, for example, Meant to Grow and an Equilibrium, both working extremely well. We had the trade support activities working extremely well. And we had the events activities and the networking activities, which were running into a problem in May last year because of the COVID pandemic. But in general, we had a well-established business model, a strong financial position, and a sort of sense of solidity. Now, what we weren't aware of when we met last year was how long in particular, the second and third stages of lockdown were going to run on for. And we had to transition from a temporary blip to actually a long-term change, to a medium to long-term change to our operating model. And it wasn't clear to us in the spring of last year that we would have to do that. And so we've had to continue to evolve over the last few months. Now, that we can congratulate ourselves on the fact that we have continued positively with the educational elements, very positively actually. We can congratulate ourselves that we've continued with our work through the trade team and the support to DIT. That's all very well, but unfortunately, in the course of last year and into this year, a proportion of our membership has been being battered by the impacts of COVID. Everybody in the hospitality, travel, restaurant sector, entertainment sector, they've had a very, very hard time. And that's led to them either questioning their membership of the chamber because they can't justify, they can't pay for it financially, or it's led to them and other members who haven't been directly affected saying, well, actually, we don't participate in Equilibrium, and we don't participate in Meant to Grow because we're an established company. We're in this for the networking, and there isn't any networking. There's nothing going on. So why are we paying our membership fee? Now, we could recognize that, but there was nothing we could really do about it other than increase the number of online events that we had. And there, I think, is a limit. And I think a lot of you will agree with me if I say, actually, there is a limit to the number of online events that you really want to do. It was fun for a while, but there's only so much tolerance that you have for it. And so we have a challenge in that we have portion of our membership under serious financial pressure, and another proportion of our membership questioning what the Chamber is doing for them. The result of that is that we are hit on two fronts. One is the membership is declining. And the second is that we've made a decision to reduce the membership fee as a way of recognizing the pressure that some of our members, or generally most of our members, have been under. So we've had a short-term financial hit, and we have a medium-term financial hit. And the impact of that is not really seen in 2020. When we go through the Treasurer's report, we've come through 2020 financially reasonably well. The problem is going to be this year and next year. And therefore, the message that I want to give everybody is not it's steady as she goes and haven't we all done well and everything, because that unfortunately is not really where we are going, as we'll see from the from the budgeting. So to move it from a sort of negative message to a positive message, I'm using the words challenge, and our challenge for the future is to support the membership that we have. Let's call it the core membership, our key members, our sponsors, our patrons, our core members, the people who are contributing, and we need to expand our appeal to potential new members, because at the moment we're going backwards, not forwards. And for that, we need engagement from the membership, the board, the sponsors, the management team, and the embassy. I am actually pretty positive about the future. I'm quite a positive person, and I don't have I'm not overly concerned. I think that the bedrock positives of the Chamber are really strong, but we should not take them for granted. We can't just sort of hope that it'll all be okay. Next year, we'll be back up to 200 members and we'll be back into a surplus. In my view, that will not happen unless we make it happen. So direct, it's not really what I wanted to be saying in my first speech to chairman, but as you will see from the numbers, I think it is important to stress that. If we can move on to the next slide. I just wanted formally to note the change of management, and as it is quite fundamental to the Chamber. And we will say a little bit more about that at the end. But for the record, there is a pretty substantial handover of responsibilities here. And we are, I think, fortunate, as the ambassador said, we are fortunate that we have Sylvia in a position to be able to step up here. It will be quite a challenge for her, as I've emphasized, but I think that she is well suited to meet that challenge, and she is backed by a very competent and enthusiastic young team. Right. Marcella, if I could hand over to you now to talk about in a way, looking back over your last year, there's a pretty positive story to tell there.
Okay, thank you, Guy, and good afternoon, everybody. Pavel, I think they are the wrong slides now, by the way. They are still board of directors. Perfect. Okay, so good afternoon, everybody, and welcome also from my side for the last time. As Guy mentioned, 2020 and 2021 so far have been really extraordinary years. The mixture of COVID challenges together with Brexit and having to go through all of this via remote operating. So yes, it was certainly interesting time. But Nick and the Guy mentioned that already. I am actually very proud how we as the chamber have managed the situation and how much we have achieved. And I would really like to thank to the whole executive team for absolutely amazing work and performance during these difficult months. So thanks a lot, my dear colleagues. And I also want to say big thanks to all of you members for supporting us and for being with us. Because I believe we as a community must support each other, especially in during the challenging times. But let's have a look at the outcomes of our work, because I really feel that we can be proud of what we achieved. Next slide, please. When you look at business opportunities and events, though with very limited opportunities, I think we have been quite successful. And if you look at the numbers, so in total we have hosted 151 events, either our own or in cooperation with our members, other chambers, and also the BCC UK global network. You can see the detailed breakdown, and it actually means that on average we hosted more than 12 events every month. So I really think that this is quite an impressive number. Next slide, please. Then, of course, COVID crisis and lockdown. And I must say that I'm really happy that somehow we even managed to organize 29 events and meetings in person before and in between the restrictions. Now, when you look at the number and you look back, it's almost some kind of a miracle that we managed this. But some of these events were really remarkable. For example, blind wine tasting, summer garden party, open gardens at Villa Rudolfa. So I'm really pleased that we managed this. Next slide, please. The major part of the year was strongly influenced by COVID, and we were forced to operate online. And I would say that one of the main tasks during those days was to provide the information support for you. So we created the COVID section on the BCC web, where you could find the most relevant information and the links which will take you to the other sources of information. But we also carried COVID impact survey and cooperated on proposals of the economic supporting measures, which again, now when you look back, it brings a different picture when you see it in the context of what was happening afterwards. But I must say that we certainly did not forget about networking and having some fun. So we organize online networking and social events. You can see some of the examples: online blind wine tasting, whiskey tasting, pub quiz, speed business, business meeting. Next slide, please. Yep. But then the core of the online events is, of course, webinars and discussions. But besides that, we also managed to bring other standard BCC activities and programs to the online space. That includes education events and mentoring programs. I must say that we were very successful in running the startup mentoring, the third edition online, and also the Equilibrium program, which took place 100% online. And we even organized online Equilibrium conference with more than 200 participants. And talking of Equilibrium, Pavel, next slide, please, because I would like to say a bit more about this top star of the BCC activities. In the last autumn, we launched already the 10th edition. And I must say that there must be mentioned that big thanks goes to Česká spořitelna for their long-term support since the very beginning of the program. The program is extremely popular and successful. Last year we had, or it's still this year, or this edition, we have 140 pairs, mentor and mentees, and we launched the branches in Ostrava and Brno. And I would say that I would like to say big thanks to the excellent steering committee, because the spirit of the team is certainly contributing to the great success of the program. And I must say, if you look at the pictures at the chart, you can see quite nicely the trend in popularity and the increasing power of the program, which I really think it's quite nicely visible. Last but certainly not least, I would like to say big thanks to the British Embassy for the great support and involvement in the program, and especially to Lucy Hughes, who is part of the steering committee. Next slide, please. Yes. Of course, talking of challenges and opportunities and being part of the British Chamber of Commerce, I believe that the B word has to be also mentioned. Again, same as Nick has mentioned in his welcome. It is challenge for the chamber. It is the challenge for the whole business community. But we are trying to be here to provide the support for you. We have focused mainly on providing really up-to-date and trustful information, especially in cooperation with the embassy, some of the BCC members, and the British Chamber of Commerce in UK. We organized a number of webinars and discussions, and we also created a special Brexit section on the BCC web. It's called Brexit Advice. Next slide. Because I would like to talk a bit more about one very special event, which I'm really proud of, because it proves that you can transfer to online space quite significant events and activities. And the event is called, or was called, Green Growth Online Conference. It took place on 23rd March. It was co-organized with the British Embassy, and I must say we had really great keynote speakers. For example, John Merton, the UK COP26 envoy, Anu Piagvani from the World Bank, Alice Machová from EY, Danuše Nerudová from Mendel University, and many more others. We had altogether more than 170 participants, and because the chamber wants to be a platform for discussion and sharing the experience in the field of sustainability, we took the conference as a start of our long-term activities. Yes, next slide, please. And I think Sylvia will certainly talk a little bit more about the plans of the chamber on the sustainability. Of course, when we talk about the activities of the chamber, we have to talk also about the trade support, especially the Europe Trade Hub. And I would like to say a few words about this, because this program, which is financed by the UK government, is very successful, and I think it's a very important pillar of the activities of the chamber. For those who are not familiar with it, the program purpose is to provide support and assistance for the UK exporters when they want to enter to any of the European markets. The pilot phase started in 2019, and in October 2020, the hub was formally launched by Greg Hans, the trade policy minister. As you can see from the picture, it was unfortunately the online launch. But next slide, please. But I must say that I am really proud how amazing job the hub team has done since they started, because they already handled almost 1,500 requests for the export assistance to European countries. If you look a little bit on the statistics, the most inquiries were related to consumer goods and food and drink products. But basically there is another part of the hub activities, which is the proactive initiative, the proactive steps with UK regions and the Europe network. And for example, the hub organized very successful series of webinars on food and drink export opportunities in 16 countries. And also very successful webinar on the digital routes to Europe for consumer goods, which had more than 250 participants. Next slide, please. And as I mentioned, the statistics, I think that's another interesting outcome of the trade hub that you can really see at the trends and look at the situation in the what's going on in the UK export. And not so surprisingly, the top markets of interest are Germany, France, Spain, but also Netherlands and Sweden. But the Czech Republic is taking the 8th position, slightly behind Poland. But I would say that we are in a good company in the group with Belgium and Denmark. And altogether, you know, if you discount the leading countries, more than 50% of cases are focused on other countries as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is enough for the report. I will say my final thank you at the end. So at this moment, just once again, big thanks to the executive team, to the board for the great work and support. And of course, big thanks to the embassy and to you, the BCC community, for staying with us and keeping your support also during these difficult times. So many thanks, and I would say now either over to Guy or over to Sylvia. Thank you.
Over to Sylvia, I think.
Yep. Yes, thank you, Pavle. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency and board members. First of all, I would like to thank you, Marcelo, for all your commitment and help for the past 8 years. Obviously, you have not only been my boss, but really also a role model and most of all a friend. And I really do thank you from the bottom of my heart that you have absolutely no idea how much you've taught me and you've influenced me in the most positive aspects. And if I really can return this to you in any way, I definitely will. And now let's go to the report. Pavle, if I can ask you for the first slide. We all know that with the beginning of the year 2021, COVID-19 pushes us, the Czech Republic, into the second lockdown, and we adopted exactly the same massive restrictions that slept on us in the spring. We unfortunately got used to the fact that our office is, let's say, 10 meters far from our bedroom. Words like Zoom, Teams, Google Classroom, mute, unmute, became the most frequently used words on our daily basis. And that's why the BCC team, as Marcela and Guy already said, we were forced to continue, obviously, working remotely. And we did brought events into the virtual world that were very successful. And we had no idea that it could actually work in such a way. Whether this was really wine tasting or cooking classes or different social events, but the members of BCCs wanted to see each other, at least through the screen, so much that it did work a lot. Pavle, can I ask you for another slide? So what do we plan for 2021? So finally, and hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, we're now able to deliver face-to-face events. And we really can't wait to meet you in person. It has been really too long to see you only on screen. And we decided together with the board to try deliver new formats, but as well traditional events and events that you've been used to. The new format is definitely, or new format for BCC is definitely a car rally 2021. It's really an exciting event that is going to happen actually this Friday and Saturday in Želiv. You might think this is not for everybody, only for, let's say, a smaller group of our members, but the interest is huge. And we've got a full house of great guests and potential members that we are going to meet this Friday and Saturday. Pavle, next slide, please. Social and networking events. When we sent out our survey to you, this came out quite clearly. You want to have a combination of events that do offer business and entertainment, or business, entertainment, and even fun. Social events will be mainly coordinated and managed by Pavel Fara, who is a great colleague of ours. It's a hardworking gentleman who you know, obviously, for past 5 years as a communications manager. What are the plans? The first event after the car rally is an open garden business networking event. Our chairman, Guy Barker, generously offered his garden to organize a party not only for public during the project of open gardens, but also for the BCC members only. So please see the website. It's, if I'm not mistaken, June the 12th, and it's going to be absolutely unique and fantastic. We've done this last year. So please do come. Other events that you've seen in BCC and you've attended, definitely golf tournament, definitely there's going to be a business garden party end of August. We plan with Zátiší, a BCC patron, to organize a curry night to help them again to start and refresh their business. We will not miss this year, hopefully, our traditional gala evening. We want to do much more joint events with other associations, such as AFI or Czech British Chamber in London. We are in very intensive and close touch. We may do a Christmas party with them, or we would love to invite you to a gala dinner in London with the Czech British Chamber. Also, we're working obviously with British chambers worldwide and offering you different webinars and events that they organize for basically worldwide members of BCC chambers. Pavle, can I have a next slide, please? So I don't really want to repeat what Marcela and Guy did say already. I don't have to introduce you our Equilibrium program, which is a flagship project of BCC. I actually do remember, ladies and gentlemen, when this project was really in a cradle and the working group was really brainstorming what's the mission going to be and what's the actual name going to be. And really, trust me, the word diversity wasn't that popular as it is today. The launch of the 11th edition is going to happen in September 21, hopefully face to face. It's going to be a huge, massive event. This year, we have almost 200 pairs, mentors and mentees from Prague, Ostrava, and Brno. And first time, obviously, this is a reflect to COVID. We will have the possibility to have also online mentoring if your mentor will be from abroad. We will refresh my stories, which is our sort of subsidiary events to Equilibrium. If you know a significant gentleman or a lady who you believe should tell her or his life story, please drop us an email. I mean, we do have absolutely fantastic number of partners of the program. It is in a huge interest among our members, and I really want to thank Anna Cimburková, which is the senior manager of this program, for organizing such a great project. So thank you, Anna. Pavle, can I have a next slide? Meant to grow. We still are planning on a major support or ongoing support of the startup community. However, we are now in a situation where we are discussing the best direction of this project. We're talking to different strategic partners, associations, and members to find the right synergies. There's going to be a closing session for the year 2020 within a month, and we will let you know what's going to happen in September, where this project is aiming. The great outcome of the project was obviously with a well-known company. You might have heard about them. It was due to their approach and our program that they have really got into in touch with a very significant investor and succeeded a major expand. You can see their E15 PR, which was very successful. Pavle, can I have next slide? So educational events. This is something new we've decided to prepare during summer. We actually want to create a BCC brand, an umbrella that will basically communicate all these educational events. So after attending whatever workshop, webinar, or seminar, or an academy, you will actually receive a proper certificate that should be useful for your future career path. We are still continuing in leadership academies, different digital skills academies and master classes. Again, Anna Cimburková is responsible. If you have any ideas, just don't hesitate and drop her an email. Pavle, next slide, please. This is something Marcela did already mention, basically based on a huge success of the conference, Green Growth Conference that we did organize with the British Embassy. And obviously with what ahead of us, we've decided to establish a BCC Sustainability Working Group. This will be coordinated by Petr Karel on the board level. Obviously, some members of BCC are very much advanced in this area and are happy to share their know-how. On the other hand, there are others who would like to start the green approach, but really they're not certain how. And this is when we step in as the working group, our experts do step in, and we help with the education and with actually sharing these cases. And yes, it's about sharing, educating, and lobbying as well. We are ambitious in this field. We would like to actually call, let's say, Green Issues Awards with corporate companies, and we would like to cooperate, very closely with the British Embassy. Pavle, next slide, please. Marcela again already talked in detail about DIT Europe Trade Hub. I'm extremely excited to know and to announce that we know for 100% we will deliver all the services until the end of the year 21. I would really once again like to highlight the excellent work of the hub. The results are absolutely outstanding, and the applause goes to the head of the team, Filip Franek, and his team, Petar Kamčev, Veronika Štěpánková, Anna Seidlová, and Nikola Výborná, together with Petra Griffin. So thank you. Pavle, next slide. What is ahead of us? Year 21, year 22. I think Guy Barker was more than honest to say, this will be rather challenging rest of the year. First of all, we need to stabilize. The past year has been really tough, or a year and a half. Businesses of our members, or some of our members, have been hit hardly by the pandemic. And these members have decided to pause their membership, and we fully understood. And I believe it's time to, in quotation marks, really win them back and to show them we're here again, and to provide them and connect them with their new and ongoing business partners. So for the year 2021, it's really to stabilize and hopefully expand. And for the year 2022, it's the acquisition of new members. It's making the community great again in terms of the quality and the numbers. So the main mission for us, it stays. It's to help, assist, and support. So the question is, how can we help? Call us, text us, write us emails. That's why we here for you. And explore our network and partner with us. We can really achieve more together. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to see all of you in person, hopefully very soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Sylvia. Moving on, because we need to keep an eye on the time, I'd like to ask the Treasurer, Chris Garlick, to present the 2020 accounts and the budget. And we can usually rely on Chris to, what's the right word, to inject a note of realism into the proceedings. Chris, over to you.
Good evening, Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. The results for 2020, the budget was a surplus of 32,000, and we nearly got there at 17,000. The drop in the membership has been balanced by an increase in the grant and a reduction in overheads. So we ended up with the highest retained surplus ever of just over 4 million, with cash at bank and in hand of 3.6 million. So that's good. We have a decent size of reserve. Thank you. Next slide. Now, the budget for 2021 shows a deficit of 1,184,000. This is a combination of the 20% discount offered to members, plus, as people referred to earlier, some problem with some sectors of our membership. The assumption is that the grant for the DIT hub continues. That's fine. We will continue to reinstate the activities of the chamber and reduce all costs that we can. A lower number of full-time equivalent staff of 9.6, but we will support the working groups and the gala dinner when the conditions are improved. Next slide, please. So in conclusion, the overall financial performance was a small surplus. We've got cash of 3.6 million, retained surpluses of over 4, but we have a deficit of 1.18 million budgeted for 2021, and the board is considering carefully how to add value in 2021 and improve the position in 2022. The support of the sponsors and patrons is very much appreciated and vital for increasing the quality of our chamber. Thank you. Are there any questions? If not, can I propose acceptance of the budget and the transfer of the surplus of 17,000, which we had in 2020, to reserves?
Is anyone against? Or is anyone abstaining? Please unmute yourself and say your name if anyone is abstaining or against. So it's not the case, so the accounts are approved. Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much indeed, Chris. Succinct summary. If we can move on now to point 6 on the agenda, which is elections to the board of directors. We have 2 board directors whose term has come to an end. They've completed their 3-year terms. Peter Carroll and Richard Keary. Both gentlemen have said that they would be prepared to stand again. So we have 2 vacancies on the board, and we have 2. The 2 gentlemen would be willing to stand again for those vacancies. And as of the start of this meeting, we didn't have any other proposals for alternatives. So there are these 2 candidates, Peter and Richard. If I can ask both of them to give a very short introduction and comment on themselves and on their view for the future, I would be grateful. So Peter, can I ask you to step up and remind everyone of the value that you bring to the chamber?
Unfortunately, Petr Karel cannot join us, but he shoot video greetings. So now you can see the greetings from Petr Karel.
We're going to do that.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear BCC members. My name is Petr Karel, and I'm vice chair of the British Chamber in Prague. I cannot be with you. I cannot attend the AGM this afternoon as I'm taking COVID jab to get me back to normal life, as hopefully all of us. As you know, I'm standing for re-election as a board member, and I would like to ask your support, and I would be very much honored if you supported my candidacy into the board. I don't want to spend much of your time, but a couple of my priorities as board members. One, sustainable growth and green growth initiative that we started at the embassy to support the green energy, the sustainability, etc. Second, I would like to look at business opportunities for British members, such as Mentor Growth, the British Business Centre, the business networking events, etc. I would like to support the public policy improving the business environment for our members, i.e. the roundtables of politicians challenging some of the key policymakers, etc. And lastly, live events to get us all back to normal, such as gala or rally that we're currently organizing, so that we can all meet together face to face again. So personally, I do look forward to meet you all soonest, and thank you very much for your support. Bye-bye. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Peter. Thank you very much, Pavel. And I'm pretty sure we do have Richard. I can see his smiling face on the right.
Hi, good afternoon. That was very much Oscars from Petra there. Thank you very much for having me, and good afternoon, everybody. Firstly, thank you, Marcella. Take an opportunity to formally thank you for all your hard work and the support that you've given me as a board member and the rest of the team, and wish you well for the future. And thank you and welcome also to Sylvia. It was great hearing your update there, and I look forward to working with you. My name is Richard Keary. I'm currently the CEO of HSBC in the Czech Republic. I've been with the bank for over 20 years, and I've been in Prague now for just over 3. Worked across Asia, Middle East, Africa, Europe, UK and Ireland, so been around the block a little bit. I've thoroughly enjoyed my past 3 years working with the Chamber, and particularly the equilibrium and Meant to Grow are two areas that I have really enjoyed engaging with: talent, new business, and some great energy in the economy here. And I think that those are 2 key areas that I really want to keep working with. The new look, Meant to Grow, I'm excited to get involved with that, as well as the events. And we've got Friday's car rally, which is something I'm very keen to attend. So the events are very much at the heart of the Chamber, but our initiatives to support talent, diversity, inclusion, I think will definitely help us and help the economy for the future, as well as deepening the relationship with the UK. I ask you for your support to help me continue working with the board. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Richard. Thank you very much, Peter. And I think, therefore, unless there are any questions, I would now propose that we move to a vote on the election of those 2 candidates. And formally, therefore, if there are no questions, I would ask everybody to vote and to please make yourself known if you wish to vote against any of the either of the 2 candidates, or if you wish to abstain.
I would just say a few words, Guy. The articles of the Chamber foreseeing that case, once the number of vacancies are equal to the number of candidates, there is no reason for voting. So in this case, both candidates are automatically elected as board members. But if there are any questions, just raise your hand and you are allowed to ask.
Good. In which case, I think we can congratulate the newly elected board directors, and I look forward to continuing to work with both of you.
Thank you.
That, I think, leads us on to the final item on the agenda, the closing of the AGM. So I'd like to thank everybody involved. I'd like to thank the officials for organising the AGM. I'd like to thank the members for their support. I'd like to thank the patrons for their support. And then specifically, I would like to thank Marcella for everything that she has been able to do. A number of people who know Marcella far better than I do have already talked in detail and at some length about her contribution to the Chamber. All I would like to say, in addition to that, is a phrase that I coined a week ago that received sort of a positive comment from my predecessor's board, which is to Marcella, I feel that we were very lucky to have had you as our managing director, and we are very sorry to lose you. And on that note, I think you wanted to say a little bit more yourself.
Thank you, Guy. Many thanks for the kind words, and thank you all. It is certainly not easy to say goodbye, and I must say it is quite an emotional moment for me. But on the other hand, if I was not emotional, you might doubt if it's really me and not some kind of avatar. So let's get on with it. Once again, I want to say many thanks to all of you, to the team, the board, the embassy, and of course you, our members. It has been an amazing experience and great honor to be part of the Chamber. And I always have said that the greatest fortune of the Chamber are the people. And that actually made my job quite simple, because if you look who I have worked with, you agree. A great executive team full of highly professional and enthusiastic people, where you just need to let them and encourage them to do what they are good in. And I must say that I am really delighted that a member of that team, Sylvia, will be my successor. It makes my departure a bit easier, because I know that the Chamber stays in really good hands. Then, of course, the excellent board. Most of the time, the extra 9 volunteer members of the executive team. They are successful business leaders with incredible experience and skills, but, and that's also very important for me, with firmly integrated moral principles and values. Then, of course, the distinguished relationship with the embassy. Nick, Lucy, your support and involvement have been and will be crucial for our work, and I must say that I always enjoy the joint work and our meetings. And then last but certainly not least, you, our members and supporters. You provide the meaning and the purpose of our work. It has been a great honor to represent you, to represent a community which I believe shares the same values and principles. I remember a number of meetings when some of you mentioned that you feel that the world has gone a bit mad, but you feel that the Chamber is still a spot, an island where things are still in the right place and we are promoting the right principle and values. And I must say that I'm really convinced that it will stay like this. So ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, dear Nick, Lucy, dear board, dear colleagues, once again, big thanks for everything, for the great moments together. We had gone also through some tough times, but we had lots of joy and fun. And I must say that the Chamber will stay always in my heart, and part of my heart will stay within the Chamber. So, thank you and goodbye. But as I plan to stay in touch with my beloved BCC family, I would say it's not goodbye, but rather see you later. And last surprise, This time I'm not going to close my words with a quote from Winston Churchill, nor Václav Havel, nor George Orwell, but I will quote one of the greatest philosophers, Winnie the Pooh, because I think that Winnie says it quite precisely. How lucky I am to have something that makes saying goodbye so hard. So thank you all, thank you for everything, and keep in touch. See you later. Thanks.
Hear me. Thank you very much, Marcela. Thank you very much. Good. All right. Well, I think that brings our proceedings to a close. If I can just check with all of the attendees, if anybody has any other points that they would like to raise, any questions that they would like to raise. Okay. Good. In which case, I declare this meeting closed. Thank you very much for your attendance. Thank you very much for the organization.